Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 12-inch Figure Fanatic. I'm very excited to introduce to you the Captain America Avengers Endgame version. I've been very excited for this figure to come out. There was some slight delay and it's finally here, and I hold Captain America very near and dear to my heart. Even though Iron Man's my favorite character, I actually paid like $1,700 to look like Captain America this past Halloween. So, yeah, I like him enough. Let's take a look and see what we got. Alright, so I actually had the Captain America from the first Avengers film, and it had those classic colors, the bold red, white, and blue, and I never really liked it, but I had to have an Iron Man figure, obviously, to go with my other Avengers. You couldn't have a set. You couldn't call it a set without having him in it. So I got it, but since I got this figure, I got rid of the other one on eBay. I'm not one of those people that likes to have like 5 Iron Mans and 3 Black Widows and stuff like that. I want one of each, and you know, I'll pick the best one that I like personally, and that's the one I'll hang on to, and the rest I'll get rid of. Now, one thing that was that first Avengers Captain America was known for was the paint peeling off on the shield. So I'm hoping that Hot Toys has since fixed that problem. I haven't heard any further complaints, so I think that they have. So you got 2 versions of his shield. One still kind of dirty and damaged. Very good detailing on the back there, on the straps even. And this is all plastic, so pliable plastic. And then you have the shattered version of the shield towards the end of the film. So that's pretty interesting. Now the meat and potatoes. So far, so good. And there's a dullness throughout the figure compared to the previous Captain Americas. It seems like as the films moved on, his red, white, and blue got more subdued, less bold and pure in color. Or was he just getting weathered himself from all of the battles he had been in throughout the films? Is it symbolic of him wearing down? That's why he called it quits. Reminds me a lot of my costume. My goodness. There we go. Finally got it all. All right, so a lot going on with this figure. There's different materials going on. You've got the base, sort of canvas-like material. Then you've got these layers on top that are sort of thin, rubberized to offer the texture of the figure. Then you've got these additional rubber pieces that go on here for the padding. Very good detailing on the stitching here. You know, I know this iteration of his costume had a lot going on as far as different textures and patterns, and I was wondering how faithful Hot Toys would be in reproducing all of that going on, and they did a very good job. So one complaint that I saw through threads ahead of time was that these buckles are made of plastic and that they aren't metal. Same thing with this back piece. But you know what? You don't even notice. They painted it well enough to where you can't even tell. I have no complaints there. Now, would I have rather this have been material instead of sculpted entirely? Yes. I think they cut corners here by sculpting and painting this instead of having it stitched. Because I've seen figures like Celine from Underworld. Celine from Underworld has buckles on the sides like this, and they stitched the whole thing. They managed okay. Hot Toys didn't want to go that route. But a firm figure doesn't feel delicate at all, even though it has so much going on. And the head sculpt has some good weathering on it. Considering the weathering they did to the shield, though, they could have matched that with the helmet, because his helmet was pretty battered and beat up by the end of the film as well, and that doesn't reflect in the weathering they did here. It's a little more like midway through the film look. But it has good depth. So here it looks like you could change out the facial expressions, right? And so you've got two additional ones. All right, so you've got the there we go. How does that fit in there? Okay, there it is. The "you're getting me angry" look. That's the second option. And then you have the "I'm very angry" or "I'm terribly constipated" look. And we've got just his head sculpt. Very good there. I'm not surprised because they've always done very good on his head sculpt. Tony Stark's, I don't know. It's been a mixed bag over the years, but they've never failed with him. Got just his mask. I would have liked them to have the straps be material. They could have done that, and they took a shortcut and just sculpted this brown piece of plastic and then painted the detailing on. So that's another shortcut on this figure. I wonder how many of these shortcuts were to keep the timeline that they had promised everybody. All right, we've got a little compass with his girl in there. Good detailing on that. Does it move? Yeah. So the compass closes. Very nice. And does that flip up? No. So it looks detailed, but it's also doesn't, it does the, this part here doesn't flip up like the regular lens-added compasses do. And I do have a Saving Private Ryan Captain Miller figure, and that's it's made out of metal, not plastic like this one, and it has full posability to look like the original compasses. So another shortcut there. This looks like maybe a holder for a shield on his back, I'm guessing. I'll read the instructions on that. Uh-oh. Yeah, so here was the other complaint that I read on the thread. And this was a pretty big deal for some folks, like some serious pouting, that this is made out of plastic. And in the past, they've made this Gauntlet out of metal. So I borrowed the one from my Thor figure so we could do a side by side. Now, I don't know if it's solid, but it sure feels solid, the original one with the Thor figure. It's made out of metal. And here's the one. So the coloring's a little bit different. The style of the strapping's the same, but you can see there's a difference. So the metal one has this shine to it. You can see a reflection. Obviously the plastic one doesn't have that. Now, am I going to pose my Captain America with Thor's Gauntlet? No, I never believed that he should have held it, and I'm not going to pose him with it. As a matter of fact, I'll probably sell this piece of junk on eBay. But they should have kept the metal one. If they were going to do the Gauntlet, they should have kept it metal. Stayed in line with what they had done previously. Once again, another shortcut they did. All right, you got his base. Doesn't illuminate, doesn't need to, doesn't bother me. Captain America printed right there. It's got this sort of shine to it on one part where it's rough on the other part, so you see the A pops out a little bit. That's real cool. I really like that. It's very nicely done. And you've got 5 hands. So 7 hands total, variety of poses you could choose. Let's give this figure a nice display and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on this figure. Overall, done very well, but there's just a few undeniable corners that were cut that I had noticed, especially down here. Having sculpted the entire bottom portion here, just not ideal. It does make it look a little cheap. But they did such a great job on the stitching that it's a shame that they didn't keep that throughout when they got down to the boots. The shield secures pretty nicely on there. There's some buckles behind this second strap here that makes it easy to unsnap and snap again rather than slip the arm all the way through. That piece that I had mentioned earlier, this is to secure the shield on his back. So that's a nice touch there. But I'm gonna have to take some points off because of the corners that were cut in the figure. And I do suspect that it is because they were trying to meet timeline. So I'm gonna give this figure overall, I'm gonna give it a 7.8. Yeah. And some of you would give it even worse because this is made out of plastic. But I'm not gonna even include that in my rating because it's a mixed bag. But this should have been made out of metal. It's a little cheap. I do like that they went through the detail of putting the photo in there and everything, but head sculpt, like I said, always golden. Good job there. They did make a little too glossy on the eyes. Looks like he's balling up, getting ready to cry. But yep, those are my final thoughts. This one's definitely going on the shelf as my final Captain America to display with the rest of the Avengers. Even though it's kind of a mixed bag, they're from all the different Avengers films. So some of you would say that's sacrilegious. They need to be uniform, but that's the way I roll. Anyways, take it easy.